Welcome, dear listeners, to a very special episode of Red Moon Roleplaying. Today, our very own Craig Austin shall be taking you into the dark and horrifying world of Carnage on Cape Cod. Carnage on Cape Cod is an upcoming choose-your-own-adventure solo TTRPG gamebook, combined also with a more traditional TTRPG adventure book designed for group play. If this has already piqued your interest, please feel free to check out the links provided in the show notes today, and support the crowdfunder trying to bring this dark dream to life. We've kindly been provided the opening demo to the game's solo experience, and we will be taking you through that today. All you need to play Carnage on Cape Cod, other than the gamebook itself, is 2 6-sided die, a pencil, and an eraser, and a copy of the game's character sheet. You are then ready to begin your descent into the dark secrets that await. So, take a moment to get yourself comfortable, and let us see where the songs of the sea lead us as we play Carnage on Cape Cod.
The Tempest. A siren keeps still in the ocean tonight. She's dressed in warm sunshine, her hair red, tied in a messy bun atop her twitching head. The ocean is autumn cold and restless with the waves, yet she stands there unmoved, with an absolute absence of regard of any kind for the rainstorm washing away her tears. The water is splashing at her shivering waist, at her yellow dress. Suddenly, she acts, fumbling with her hands, as if her arms itched with horrendous agony her body could no longer contain. The crashing of the waves mutes her cries. She unclasps the clip holding the bundle of her hair, releasing the mane of red shrouding her shuddering visage. She makes a quick motion with both her hands as if scratching one arm's length, and then the other. Just once each, from a soft spot between the muscles of her upper arm down to her palm. Only her gritting teeth show any notion of pain. They are close to shattering. She raises both her arms towards the bright moon above. Her sunny sleeves open up, spurting blood from each arm, colouring the sea with the colour of her hair, swallowing the sunshine of her dress with the eclipse of the pouring dark. The bloody hair clip drops from her hand as she starts spinning with the last shred of consciousness, with the last breath of life. And there she is, dancing deaf and beautiful, twirling away her remaining years in a fountain of blood. Food for fish, her arms raised still. It is not only her body that moves, but her lips are also contorting in a strange manner, as if speaking speech unknown and silent. Her eyes are wide and glistening with fear, with joy. After the 9th pirouette, she drops down, caught by the waves. Dead in the water, lulled by the ocean rouged with blood, pale with the imposing moon. Blessed suicide, saluted by a downpour. A siren has died tonight. The Queen of the Sea is dead. You open your eyes. How do you feel? Confused? Inspired? Or unsettled? Well, I suppose I feel unsettled. Yes, unsettled. Something is coming. You can feel it. At the roof of your mouth, underneath your nails, on the tips of the tiny hairs sticking out at the back of your neck. Something is coming. You can hear the siren's call spiraling down the conches of your ears. The sea is restless tonight. The thunder crashes loudly. Nearby, the ringing in your ears replaces your mind's songs. There's nothing left but buzzing. The siren has faded into non-existence. You open your eyes to the raindrops above. The mixture of rain and tears spills all over your flushed cheeks. You are shivering. You are outside, sleepwalking, dreaming upright in the tempest. Your head is lifted, your neck stiff. Your nightgown is soaking wet and heavy, as are your bare feet, your spirit, your arms that are lifted up to the skies. And you don't know why. You don't know why. Will you think about how you got here? Or will you go back to bed? Well, this is very upsetting. I certainly would like to think about how I got here. You stand there in the rain, trying to piece together how you ended up here praising the unknown. It escapes you. Not a good feeling, the kind that stirs trouble in your heart. You were asleep, dreaming, and suddenly you were here with your arms outstretched to the sky. Trying to clear your thoughts, you become painfully aware of your shakes. The cold really did a number on you, and there's no part of you that the downpour has spared. At least luck saved you from lightning. You could have burned in the rain. You need to go inside, as you need to stop questioning yourself. If you don't, you might as well spiral down into a panic attack. I gain 2 experience. Can be used to help me improve facets of my character. The story then continues. You're back in bed, forcing your eyes to close, hugging your wet pillow, struggling to steady your breathing. Anxiety is climbing up your neck. You can't shake it off. You can't calm down. You don't know why you're feeling this way, this strongly. Right now, you're holding your breath. You need to start breathing again. You need to center yourself. Start with the basics, like your name. Count the vowels in it. Count all the different letters it's made out of. Look at all the different colours around you. The stained bedsheet, the red blanket, the worn-off white walls. It's autumn, October 9th, 3:09 a.m. The year is 1917. You're in Haddock, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, United States of A. It's been raining for 3 days straight. At least it's not raining bombs. You didn't volunteer to go to Europe. Somebody had to stay behind when so many have gone to war. Many people of this town took off, without drafts, without force, armed with will alone to do what's right and contribute in their way. Are you feeling guilty again? Is that what happened tonight? Is the beautiful girl ending her life in the ocean a manifestation of your subconsciousness? Is that why you had to count the letters in your name again, you loser? Stop. You're going to freak yourself out again. Be constructive. Keep going. Who are you? Well, the first thing I need is a name. And it's Edward. Yes, Edward Miller. And what is it I do again? Am I a cop? A doctor? An artist? Yes, that's right. I'm an artist. Yes, you're an artist. A white canvas is your battleground, not a muddy field hatched with trenches. It took you years to hone your skills, and no small amount of money. Your talents would be wasted abroad. You could get killed. Worse yet, maimed. Maybe your mind would crack. What then? How would you interpret the beauty around you if that happened? Better an apron covered in oils than a uniform stained with blood. Your weapon of choice is a brush, and the only way you could possibly butcher someone is by destroying their likeness in a commissioned portrait. And your last mission was just that, a commissioned portrait. It was a difficult piece, a struggle to tackle. It was important, and you only had a couple of blurry photographs and hazy drunk memories for reference. But you couldn't say no. not to Mistress Moon, and you hope she'll be satisfied with your work. Being an artist means I now have advantage on all cultural and social roles. In this game, when you need to test a skill, you must roll 1d6. If you roll 5 or 6, you are successful. If you don't, you are not. When you have advantage in the skill, you instead roll 2d6 and choose the highest dice. I am also now able to improve 2 skills of my choice. When you improve a skill, you make it easier to succeed. For example, if you need to roll 5 or more, an improved skill now needs to roll 4 or more. Well, as an artist, I feel I'd have pretty good audio-visual skills. And I also feel that I've had to endure a lot in my life, especially due to my chosen profession, so my mental skill is slightly improved as well. And how do I look? Well, I'm more of a thin man, quite an angular face, angular nose. I get that from my father. I have blonde short hair and green eyes. I often like to wear loose shirts and trousers, keeping up with the latest fashions when I can. Yes, that's me, Edward Miller. Now, do you think more about Mistress Moon, or do you focus on your sleep? Well, honestly, I think I need to think a little more about Mistress Moon. She is, it seems, my employer after all. Mistress Moon is the proprietress of Moon Dance and the Moaning Mermaid's Brothel, at the far end of town. Once a lady of the night herself, the mistress has gained enough money and influence to buy the place off and take care of the entire business on her own. She's not popular with her immediate neighbours, but she's beloved by sailors, captains and locals who frequent her establishment in Haddock Port. Not so much now as before, but she knows the boys will be back, and they'll need extra care once they do. You consider her a friend, and the sentiment is mutual. You call her Mona. The painting is of her ward, a singer and working girl who goes by the name of Blue Jay. And Blue's missing. You're struggling to keep your eyes open. Why is the bed so uncomfortable tonight? First, gain 2 XP. And then answer the question. Is it stress? Your bed is the same as ever? Or could it be that it's not yours? You're sleeping in a brothel? Yes. It's not mine. I'm sleeping in the brothel tonight. Maybe that's why I'm having such strange dreams. Your head is as big as the moon, and those craters up there are the nestling headaches making their presence known as they press on the surface of your hangover. You overdid it last night. You don't even remember what came before the nightmare and its aftermath. Strangely, you were spared the stupor and throbbing while those lasted. The adrenaline served its purpose, you imagine. You hope the revelry was worth it. A whisper presses yet another crater into your mind, another jolt of fatigued ache. Someone is calling your name. Someone from the other side of the door. You fumble out of bed, find your legs, and swing the door open. As you do, a sweet mixture of sweat and patchouli hits your nostrils. The jab of flour and spice hits like an uppercut, travelling from your sinuses to the back of your brain. It hurts to see, yet you eye Mona, the mistress of this fine brothel, standing in your doorframe. She holds a tall glass of murky liquid in her hands. You know it's going to taste awful, but soothing at the same time. You take a big gulp, and in the pause, just before swallowing the bitter post-happiness medicine, you try to remember if you enjoyed the company of her night workers before the siren snatched you away. Were you alone the entire night, or did you have some company? Well, I think I did have some company. After all, why would I be sleeping here at the brothel? Sometimes I find this sort of place helps ease tensions, makes work easier. Then again, my mind and memory are a little foggy at the moment. I had company, you blurt out loud, hoping that it's true. I've been told, she smiles. You made quite an impression. Good. It is true. All you need to do now is remember. But first, you take comfort in her words as your confidence slightly restores. Calm down and let her awful concoction work through you. You focus on her calming voice, her soft skin as she caresses your hand, the scent of lilacs rising from her luscious afro that's free, shamelessly large, and intertwined with golden streaks affirming her royalty. She's dressed in purple, and she's taking care of you. You feel better. All the more that you made an impact on your companion last night. The memories flutter back. Who were you with? Dreamweaver or Mickey Pierce? Well, I think... Yes, it was Dreamweaver, wasn't it? Yes. Dreamweaver. You remember her. A mysterious beauty dressed from head to toe in expensive indigo silks, accented with silver star-shaped embroidery. Only her piercing light blue eyes poked through the fabrics enveloping her body and accentuating her curves. Her skin was warm against your skin. Too bad you were plunged into nightmares after she left. Mistress Moon sits with a closed tube case in her lap. You gave it to her just a moment ago. She makes gentle music with it, tracing her nails over the case's etched surface, her eyes following her fingers, never looking up. You won't see her welling sadness. Not through her eyes, that is. For a moment, she looks like a child to you, this fearsome goddess in purple fabrics and scents. She's fearless of all but blue. And blue is her favourite colour. And child. Blue is her heart. And blue is inside the case you have given her. She's nervous to look inside. You are too. Her hesitation amps it up. Suddenly you're unsure whether you did a good job or completely failed at art again. You hope she will open it soon. You hope she will never open it. Maybe you're the problem. Perhaps she's pondering the case for so long because she's trying to subdue her emotional state and match her reaction to your presence at this vulnerable moment. Or maybe she's giving you the longest cue to leave that you failed to perceive until now. How could you be so oblivious? I should leave you, you say, it louder than you meant to. It did come after a long quiet. It's fine, don't overthink it. As you turn, the fingernail melody abruptly ends with a pop of the lid opening, and you hear a gasp as she unrolls the canvas within. The tube drops to the floor. You're unsure whether to face her again or get to the door, so you just stand there, motionless. She's so lifelike, so full of life. Mona runs her fingers down the streak of painted hair. I miss her so much. It's heartbreaking. But she's so lifelike. That means you did well. You didn't fail after all. Don't doubt yourself so much all the time. Oh, come here, Mona calls for you. Let me hug you. You end up in her embrace. The fragrance of lilacs tickles your nose. The cover of her hair feels like sanctuary. The emotions flowing between you are bonding. This is home. Thank you, she whispers. I can't wait to show it to her when she comes home. You feel her tighten under your arms again, She's uncomfortable. And it's not you. It's Blue's absence. She steps back and looks at you determined. But first, I'm taking it to the police. You know that Mona's ward has been missing for more than 2 weeks now. Rumour has it that she eloped with her boyfriend, who recently returned from the war, but Mona doesn't buy it. Well, I hope it helps. You are always welcome here, she smiles at you. You are one of us. I must now make a social roll, trying to get 5 or more to succeed. Luckily, I have advantage, so I roll 2 dice and pick the highest. Sadly, even with advantage, I fail. You know, she's probably with her boyfriend, you say, wanting to reassure her, unsure if you believe your words or not. Mona bites her lip, nodding her head. She appreciates the sentiment, but that's not what she needs right now. She wants results. She needs the truth. No, she wouldn't do this. Even if she did, she would have taken her pearls and red lipstick. She takes a long breath in. You feel like she must have said this so many times since Blue's been gone, and the usual response she's gotten from everyone is the same one you've just told her. Blue is probably with her boyfriend. I'm not sure about that Sammy either. I haven't seen him since he came back. Mona hesitates before she speaks again. I heard people say he came back wrong. I don't know what that means, but which soldier comes back right? Who knows what he must have seen, what he must have had to do. She feels guilty for speaking such and quickly adds, he probably needs time to come round, to heal. Blue's a great healer, but I don't know. She's well aware that she's talking to herself at this point, but you see that she needs it, and you let her. Those pearls are the only reminder of her family, and we are the only family she has now, yet she left them. And left us. You squeeze her hand in understanding. I'm off to the police. She gets up. They can't ignore me forever. You nod. Her name's Xiang Hua, you know? She picks up her coat. Just in case you hear something. She leaves, and you follow suit soon enough, leaving Moondance and the Moaning Mermaids behind. You spot a single rat doing the same. And so, you finish your business for today, and before you could even think about relaxation or what to do next, a boy runs up to you with a message in hand. He can't be more than 12, scrawny, coiled in a rough woolen scarf, no doubt his mother made him wear. It's for you! You suspiciously eye the boy you see for the first time, wondering whether he's made a mistake. He realizes you're staring. The boy describes you head to toe and knowingly adds, You're that artist, a painter, ain't ya? Well, no mistake it seems. You nod. Have it. He hands you the note and runs off as soon as you give him a tip. You unfold the paper and see an invitation for a free lunch. The anonymous sender implores your attendance at Fish for Yarmouth, a well-off seafood restaurant, despite its unfortunate name. The original owner hails from Yarmouth. You have to forgive them. Could be another job, and you did just clear your schedule. Will you get to the restaurant early, or take a walk around town first? Well, I am trying to get rid of that hangover, so maybe a little walk around town will clear my mind. You take a stroll around the town. It's hard to ward off ill thoughts in cold, half-empty streets. Not only did the Great War take lives, it also claimed all prospects of hope, happiness, and the future. You try to imagine walking down Market Street before the war. The smell of fresh fish had to be more prominent. Traders would come in more often. The ocean and the salt were in the air, carried around by the sailors like pollen by the bees. The ladies would sell flowers, and the kids would throw rocks, competing for the mightiest throw in all of Haddock. Or maybe it was never that lively here. Only 2 women are ahead now, standing in the cold, hand in hand, in worn-out coats and scarves, waving like flags, either in defeat or protest. They've been here a while. You can tell by the redness at the tip of the older woman's nose, and the shaky, sharp-cut words of the younger one communicating on her silent friend's behest. The hot air leaving her mouth is visible, underlining the shivers and the urgency behind her words. The wind is unkind to them today, but they remain steadfast, holding a photograph of a young soldier in their numb hands. They want to talk to you. They want to speak to every soul in Haddock. They want to find Anna's missing son. But do I stop to talk to them? Or am I in a bit of a hurry? No, I think I do choose to speak to them. You're Anna, right? You turn to the pale woman of short and stocky build, with long grey hair dancing in the wind. She doesn't reply, but her taller friend does. Oh, you know Anna? Her eyes widen in hope. You know something. The truth is, you know nothing at all. You don't even know how you knew Anna's name. You must have heard it somewhere before. It's not the first time you've seen them outside, but it is the first time you've spoken to them. You apologetically shake your head. No, sorry. Ah, well. The African-American woman sniffs the cold air, preventing her nose from running. My name's Tanya, she introduces herself. And it seems you know Anna. Anna nods without a word as Tanya resumes. We're hoping also if you could tell us something about Anna's son, Sammy Bilcock. He returned from the war 3.5 weeks ago, but then just vanished. Nobody seems to know anything of use, do you? Her amber eyes inflame with hope once more. And it just so happens, due to previous choices, that actually I might know something after all. So this is Sammy, Blue's boyfriend, the one that Moon told you about. The picture doesn't say much about him. Young, blonde, handsome, if you're being generous. But you imagine he must be special if Blue picked him from all of her fans. If they went missing at the same time, they could well be together. Yeah. Actually, I think I know that his girlfriend is missing as well. You say, and explain your involvement, along with your source of information. You feel like you have nothing to hide, and that the little you know could only be beneficial to those concerned. The quiet one scoffs at your words, and her friend kindly thanks you. If you learn something more, could you please let us know? She gives you both of their addresses on Water Street. You nod and walk away. And I gain 1 XP. As you enter the restaurant, you hear a clinking of glass as the proprietor puts the dishes down and walks forward to greet you. Hello, my name is Nines, he cautiously smiles, and I'll be your server today. You mention your reservation and he leads you to the table. A reserve standee is a rare sight these days, as most tables are empty at any given time or place, but somebody went through this formality of upholding the decorum and picked a booth isolated from any eyes that might pry. It will be just you, the person who invited you, and a huge window of the turbulent ocean ahead. Place is without music, but you can hear faint sounds of a radio transmission relaying the latest information about the war, coming from Nines' desk. You are here on time, but the one who called for you still hasn't shown up. Will you look at Nines? Or focus on the ocean through the window? Well, as an artist, I do often find myself staring at pretty sights, and there is something interesting about that turbulent ocean, so I will, perhaps, gaze out at it. And so you look at the ocean ahead, but all you can see are the flashing nightmare images from last night's dream. The girl twirling in death in the sea, in foam and blood, so vivid and useless, like the reserve standee in an empty restaurant. You try to put it out of your mind, but it keeps coming back, pestering you, reminding you just how anxious you are. Another person approaches the separee you've been sitting at. You can hear the weight behind each of their footsteps, dragging slowly, advancing around the corner. A surprisingly thin, sickly-looking man comes out before you, a police cap in his hand as a form of greeting. His uniform is dirty, wrinkled, wet in places, and in others dried and stained with ocean salt. He's seen better days. He's slept in most of them. Not anymore, by the looks of his watery eyes, and the bags of stress and insomnia underneath them. This man needs you. And maybe then he'll be able to sneak in a nap. He grimaces an excuse of a smile as he sits down, a pained expression on his face and an unlit cigarette on his lip. Daniel Morris, police chief. He didn't need to introduce himself. You know who he is. I must now make a mental roll. And this time a 4 is exactly what I need to succeed. You wanted to see me? You glare at the top cop, sitting with his back to the ocean view. Yes. He looks grim, but firm in his reply. Thanks for coming. He lights his cigarette, looking you in the eye. I could use your help. Chief Daniel Morris is the acting chief of police and the main lawman keeping order in Haddock, since the war broke out and volunteers departed for Europe. He's a peculiarly handsome, odd-looking, overworked man with striking blue eyes and a prominent bone structure. His high cheekbones are stretching the skin of his nicotine-dry face. His hair is almost completely grey and messy. Some stubborn strands are heading directly towards his eyes, but he just accepts this discomfort without taking any action to improve his situation. He has shaving cuts on his chin and neck, and a pair of shaky hands. No ring on his wedding finger. He never married. After studying for a while, you finally ask, "What can I do?" "You can be my agent." He takes a long drag. "The singular unit in my special task force." You were quick to laugh, but you notice his expression doesn't change. You have no idea where his confidence comes from or what you've done to inspire it. "Do you know how many police officers currently operate in Haddock?" In all honesty, as an artist, I certainly don't. 9, he says. "And I'm one of them." You knew the situation was bad, but you didn't know it was desperate. He sees you contemplate and pulls you back by pouring more sadness into the wound of police blue. "One is nearly blind. One is fixing his marriage. The other 2 are past their retirement. And the crimes are piling up." It's not hard for him to acknowledge your insecurity as you sit across from him, digging at your hagnails. And frankly, the state of the police at the moment is naught but terrifying. But you also feel inspired by his faith in you, which is likely misplaced. He must be truly desperate. "I was thinking that Ouroboros is a fitting name for a task force to be." Daniel breaks the silence again. "What are your thoughts?" What are they indeed? There are so many of them. Rationalizing, self-doubting, downgrading your capabilities, degrading your personality. And then there are those that just bang alarms without anything of use or note. You don't even know what you're thinking. And he sees it. What even is Ouroboros? Ouroboros is a snake biting at its tail, making a
circle.
He tries to help you make up your mind by elaborating, but that's not what you need. What is it that you need?
It's an ancient symbol. It means closing the circle of misfortune once and for all,
Daniel explains.
And I'd like to close these cases properly.
You catch a glimpse of shame with his closing word. I now need to make an esoteric roll. Sadly, a 4 is not good enough. But there is one thing I can do to change my fortune. Every character in this game starts with 9 luck points that can be spent to modify rolls by that number. In this case, I think luck is on my side, and I am going to spend 1 luck to get a 5, which is a success. I should be careful with my luck, however. After all, eventually it will run out, and there is no way to replenish it. You race your thoughts, and you find yourself at odds with Daniel's last statement. Your inquisitive mind remembers that the meaning of the self-gorging serpent isn't the one offered by the chief. It might as well be in conflict with it. Ouroboros is not about closure. It's about the never-ending cycle, an inevitable circle of life, death, and rebirth. It goes on and on into eternity.
Something wrong?
He asks you as you're frowning in silence. Gain 1 XP. Now, do you point out the mistake, or do you keep it to yourself? Well, I think I'd point out the mistake. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. You got it wrong? You point out Daniel's mistake, explaining to him what you know about the Eternal Snake.
All the better,
Daniel says, even more sure of himself and his choices.
You made a connection I failed to make. I need you on this job.
You nod, feeling more confident than when he first asked you to pioneer his task force. Do I get a gun? You blunder out.
No.
He takes a long drag.
Not yet, at the very least.
This is odd. All of this is odd. Listen, Chief, why me?
Because you're a newcomer,
he replies without hesitation. He was mulling over this before the meeting, you're sure, thinking about what he would say to you when you inevitably ask this question. It doesn't make much sense, doesn't it? And being a newcomer makes me suitable for the job? It really does make no sense.
It makes you impartial. You have no family here to put your needs before yours.
Far away, Chief.
No friends whose interests you need to protect.
By all means, don't mince words.
Not many, at least.
He must think highly of you.
You don't have much to lose.
Choosing you because you're disposable.
But you have much to gain.
Sure, much to gain.
You're quiet.
Am I? You reply, the voices of self-loaning lingering behind your eyes.
You're a lone wolf, and I hope your instincts are just as sharp. And because you're an artist as well.
And that concludes the list. You don't strike me as a connoisseur of the arts, Chief.
No? Pity.
He forces a smile.
But you're right. Your perspective has to be different from mine, and I might just need a new angle.
That might be true. But he's lying to you. He's not making you an agent because of your lack of home, stability, connections, and happiness. It's not because you have broader horizons and different experiences than the rest of the Haddock folk. It's not because you don't mingle with them, or anybody else for that matter. It's not for your hypervigilance. Only your anxiety benefits from that. No. It's because he had a dream of you. You were his siren, glistening bright. He knows you'll sort this all out. He's seen you shining. Do you dare ask him? What if it's true? Gain 1 XP. Now, do you mention the dreams, or simply accept his proposal? Well, today is so strange, and this feeling I have, I think I will mention the dreams. I'm not sure how this will go down, though. Listen, Chief, is all of this because of dreams? He looks at you as he would look at a foreign language. His head is slightly tilted, curious but failing to understand. That or he's feigning his comprehension. I don't sleep, he replies. But do you dream? I don't dare. You won't get more out of this. Fine. I guess I accept the position. Excellent. You see genuine relief in him. I've prepared these credentials for you, should you need them in your investigation. Then he puts 3 folders on the table between you. They all look the same, pale brown with white tags. Thin, probably only crumbs to follow, if even that. Which one are you going to choose first? Gain 1 XP. 3 folders, 3 separate crimes. One is labelled Jane Doe, another Dominic Dom Bowers, and the third Xianghua, Blue Jay, and Sammy Bilcock. Well, how could I not check the third folder first, considering the day I've had? You tap the middle folder, and the chief obliges with explanations. Sammy Bilcock volunteered to go to Europe this year on May 3rd. To everyone's surprise, he came back on September 15th, and the people we questioned weren't sure if his return was due to discharge or desertion. Daniel takes a sip of his drink. His mother, Anna Bilcock, came to the police exactly a week after his return to notify us that he was missing. She's deaf-mute, as was this one. He puts his hand on Dom Bowers' folder. Xianghua, or Blue Jay as she was known as a working girl, was also reported missing at the same time by Mona Fey, the owner of Moon Dance and Mooning Mermaid's Brothel, also known as Mistress Moon. He takes a look at you, taking note if you're keeping up, so he can adjust his pace. Questioning the people, we're pretty sure that Sammy and Xian eloped together, given that they're a couple who wanted to get married after Bilcock's return from the war. And yet, due to previous choices, I actually have a little more information here. But she left her pearls and lipstick behind, you add. Excuse me? I spoke to the mistress already. She doesn't buy that those two eloped. I'm starting to question that myself. The chief sucks his teeth. They were reported missing on the 22nd, about a week before we uncovered Bowers' body. And Dom Bowers was Sammy's best mate. I'm struggling to let this one go. He lights up another cigarette. Castor Lucas is in charge of missing persons, but he's absent due to personal issues. It gives you a piece of paper with 2 addresses scribbled on top. One's Sammy's mother. The other is the brothel where Yang used to live, but I guess you knew that one already. He looks at you. Who's next? Well, I guess it's gonna be this, Dominic Bowers. Who's this? Well, the body of Dominic Dom Bowers was found in the water on the 30th. 9 days ago.
He was dead for some time before he was found, and his hands were cut off.
Daniel takes a moment for himself, and you see the inner struggle happening behind his tense muscles and lip bites. There's something about Dom that's sitting heavy on his chest.
Dom was a recluse. A young man without family. He was prone to gambling and drinking, and he was living by himself in a shack on Water Street.
Beating around the bush, he grits his teeth and gets to the point.
We buried him quietly 2 days later, without much analysis, hoping that somebody would poke their nose and make a slip-up so we catch him.
He exhales a lungful of smoke.
But that's not what happened. All we got was the absence of general panic and nothing else. We don't know what happened to Dom. The statement we issued was that he drowned after a night of drinking, he solemnly says. And no one's questioned that statement.
Why was he buried like that? You ask before thinking about it, and Daniel nods, ashamed but owning what happened.
We are understaffed, underqualified, lacking resources, and we're all under pressure.
All his guilt is before you.
It was the least I could do for the remaining officers.
He's unconvinced he did the right thing when pressured by his subordinates, and you're sure this has been going on ever since he agreed to bury Dom.
But we failed to figure out what happened. Not a single lead came out of it.
He taps the Jane Doe folder.
Don't know if these are related, but it's been 9 days between them.
On your inquiry, Daniel provides more information about Dom.
When he wasn't fishing, he was spending his time at Fish Hook, a fisherman's pub. His best friend was Sammy Bilcock, likely because Sammy was able to communicate with Dom, who was deaf-mute. But we couldn't find Sammy to question him. He seems to have disappeared along with this one, as I said. I've ordered the exhumation of Dom's body. He'll be in the mortuary first thing in the morning.
Great.
So, anyone else?
Well, yes. Who's this Jane Doe? Your hand falls heavily on the first folder. Jane Doe. It's got to be her, right?
The body of Jane Doe washed ashore this morning at Bass River Beach, close to where Bass River meets the sea.
Daniel lights another cigarette, offering you one as well before he continues his grim tale.
Her cadaver was contorted. Her limbs were broken and locked at severe angles, probably by the sea.
He lets you take it in before he goes further into detail.
Her forearms were slashed open. Along those wounds, the entirety of her skin, except her face, was covered in odd, occult-looking scarifications.
It seems there's more that Daniel has to say, but you know these pauses are his gift to you. He doesn't want to overwhelm, but he'll have to. And you'll have another restless sleep.
And she was smiling.
You feel cold. You want to leave. You are scared. Good articulation. You know how you feel. Now calm down. Strange how her facial expression was the scariest feature within the ragdoll horror he was describing. You absently nod, lost in her eternal smile. How long will she get to keep it until her lips rot away?
We failed to identify her, but we're sure she's not local. She had nothing on her person but a tattered yellow dress.
The same one from your dream. Oh, how she glowed in the night. You wander off, but the chief reels you back in.
Her death may look like a suicide, yet the brutality of the act indicates otherwise.
He's coming to a request. Your first mission.
Her body is in the mortuary with Sid Danes, and I'd like you to witness the autopsy.
He watches you gulp your drink and concludes.
Sid has already informed of your arrival, and he'll be waiting for you after lunch.
he says as Mr. Nines effortlessly carries 2 full fish platters to your table.
I hope your stomach is not so easily upset,
Daniel adds as he cuts into the black sea bass on his plate. You got a pan-seared haddock with a lemon butter sauce. Almost symbolic. It tastes mild and barely fishy, light and refreshing with citrus notes. A stark contrast to what you imagine the town tastes like. There's not a single hint of char, depression, disassociation, decline, death. Did you say it thrice because it usually comes in threes? Oh. Daniel sighs, snapping you out of your thoughts once again.
And she's not the first body that watched ashore recently, as I was saying about Dominic Dombowers.
I must now make a mental roll. And sadly, on a 3, I fail. I must now take 1 sanity damage. As I take more sanity damage, I will start having to choose skills to be impaired, which will make them harder to pass on checks. But for now, just 1 damage isn't so bad. I guess all these stories are starting to get to me, and I feel uneasy and unwell. At least it seems we've come to the end of these 3 folders. Any more misfortunes I should be aware of? You say, trying to ease the tension perhaps. This was a lot to take in, but Daniel nods.
There was a fire in an apartment building at Gaslight Lane 6 days ago.
You're hoping this is the last piece of information he gives you. Still, he continues.
And a child drowned in the northern marshes, but that was back in July. It was a tragic accident, and a final wake-up call for parents to forbid their children to play out in the mudflats.
He looks at you, waiting for more.
That's all.
He gets up.
I have more things to attend to, and you have a date with Sid the mortician.
He shakes your hand.
It's best if we're not seen together, not to rouse the suspicions of a potential killer. I'm sure you agree.
You do.
I'll set up another meeting like this by the end of the week, and we can discuss what we've uncovered in the meantime.
He fixes his coat.
Well, goodbye then.
He walks out more chipper than when he walked in, and you're the reason why. You're leaving the restaurant and you notice Mr. Nines nonchalantly tossing a rat outside of Fish for Yarmouth, acting casually so as not to be seen and not to flag the establishment as a rat-infested place. You are entrusted with the fates of 4 people by the chief of the Haddock Police. True, 2 are already dead, but a happy couple could still be around. Is this why you remain behind? Or is this precisely why you didn't enlist, not to be responsible for another soul? Now, 2 more may be gone forever unless you step up. How hard can it be? Haddock is a small place. Dig just a little, and you'll uncover a trail to follow. What's a little dirt under your fingernails? The trenches will always be deeper, and much harder to navigate. You take a decisive step down the street. You arrive at the mortuary on 14 Barnacle Road. Sid Danes waits for you there, as instructed. What do you know about Sid? You know that he's worked as a mortician, but now he's the only staff member who remains at Haddock's mortuary. He's accustomed to dealing with the dead, but not like this. People here die of old age, of drunken livers and strained hearts. This is something different, something far more sinister and heartbreaking. Sid is an anxious man, a kindred spirit. He speaks fast, often so fast that he loses his breath, and then for a split second worries about it, but soon after continues at the same pace and gusto. He's socially awkward and insecure, and he picked this job for a reason. He finds it calming to work with people who don't talk back, and at the same time, working with cadavers unnerves him. He's terrified of death, and he hoped this job might be the exposure therapy he desperately needed. The jury's still out on that one, but he's becoming more desensitized and unfortunately disassociative with every passing day. You haven't a clue if any of this is true, but it fits in your mind, looking at his brown, neatly combed hair, his hooded green eyes, his thin lips, and his slightly crooked nose. His hands are reddish and cracked, given his habit of constant hand-washing, but his fingers are lean and long and pleasing to look at. His other features are unremarkable. He taps his foot when he's sitting down, and he's not married. You hear him complain about the rats while you're in your musings. I have to call pest control. Don't be alarmed if you see one. He's leading you to the autopsy room, but you quickly figure out why you were painting such a detailed picture of the mortician just moments before. You don't want to go in there. Do you take a breather first, or do you follow Sid immediately? I think I need to take a breath. I'll need a moment first, you say to Sid, who's standing before the closed room you know contains the corpse of your Jane Doe. Sure. Sid nods, feeling nervous almost as much as you. I'll go grab a coffee, then we'll go. You agree and sit in an uncomfortable chair. This proves it. Physical discomfort indeed relaxes your mind. But why are you prolonging this? Your anxiety will just keep on growing until you finally go in and face it. It's like being the last kid in line for a smallpox shot. It'll hurt the same as the first kid, but they'll get over it by the time you get yours. Always be the first kid in line. Get it done. Get it over with. Go greet your corpse. Get some clarity. Diversify your nightmares. Here comes Sid. You enter a small room, just large enough to accommodate the two of you, and the body covered with a white sheet in the centre. For a moment, you're distracted by the cutting cold, as sharp as the autopsy tools that are laid bare on a tray by the veiled corpse. You feel as if the cold is emanating from her, from beneath the sheet, from beyond life, from... You banish the thought just as Sid removes the sheet. He might have said something before, but you didn't hear him speak. You still don't as you look at her. An empty vessel, devoid of soul. A rubber-skinned doll, lifeless flesh, and beautiful, yet carved up and grotesque. You feel like you know her. A strong sense of déjà vu blurs your reality. Why do you feel like she should have a fishtail in place of her broken legs? Because she wanted to swim away? Maybe she couldn't outrun whatever was chasing her on land, so she gambled with the sea. Why would anyone else come to Haddock? You came here to start over. Did she come just to end it? Doesn't make sense. You could do that anywhere else. You know she wasn't local. You'd never forget her hair of fire. And now you never will. You're scrambling. Focus on the visual. Focus on facts. The body is exposed before you. She is in her mid-20s. A possible suicide, or made to look as such. 2 large laceration wounds on her inner forearms indicate the cause of death. Yet the entirety of her body is covered with strange engravings. You saw her last night. There is no doubt about that. Where do you want to start? You find yourself staring at her lifeless body. What do you first focus on? Well, I admit, how can I not be drawn as an artist to those strange scarifications covering the whole body? I suppose I focus on those first.
I don't remember these scarifications. You blunder out loud, your mind reliving the tempestuous dreamscape. Huh? Sid shoots you a quizzical look. I've never seen anything like this before. I mean, you fix the hiccup.
Oh, me neither.
And it's true. She was pristine, luminous in the dark. These scars write a different tale. She wasn't just a siren of your dreams. She wasn't born of the ocean. She had legs. She was human. And she was polluted. Or perfected. These marks prove it. I must now make an intellectual roll. And on a 3, that is a failure. The entirety of her body is covered in etchings of unknown writing. She was alive when she got these scarifications. Most of them are already fully healed. Her story is obvious. A dame trying to escape a monster, a desperate dance in the ocean, a plea for the gods to turn her into a creature of the sea so she could be free. Remember her lips moving. Was it a prayer? I must make an audio visual roll, which on a 5 is a success. Observing her body for a while, you discern that some inscriptions were carved on top of the already existing ones. Once you point this out, Sid finds the same symbol engraved atop the existing scars at least 8 more times. The symbol in question looks like a simple depiction of a trident. Comparing the trident-looking wound to the other writing, you realize the entry point of the sharp object differs from the rest of the symbols. You are pretty certain another person did it. They cut it from top to bottom, but not the other way round, as the rest of the scarifications were made. A mark of the gods, you think to yourself. Did her prayer work? Did the Lord of the Tides look down upon her? But why did she have to die then? It doesn't add up. Add 1 XP and make a cultural roll. Sadly, even with advantage, the best I roll is a 2, which is a fail. Trying to pierce the veil between ignorance and understanding, you are left confounded. It feels like you took a few steps forward, but then something grabbed you, shook you, and tossed you back like a rag doll. At least your legs aren't broken. You have no idea what you're looking at. And so, instead, focus on something else. Perhaps the time of death. We need to determine when it happened, you say, looking at the state of her rigor mortis and the memories of your dream. They are rushing forwards, animating her dead flesh in the flashes of a dying dance she danced for you. Make an intellectual roll. Sadly, that is a 1, a failure. She swayed between the waves. You could have watched her for hours, so who knows how long it took. But you remember the crimson crescendo, the storm unrelenting. She didn't fall into the depths right away. She kept going, whirling in red and blue, and the rags of her yellow dress clinging to life, or a memory of it. The moon was high above, dawn not yet a comfort away. Chopin was in the rain, playing his funeral march just for her. And you were there, chosen to see, in a dream. Who picked you? Was it her? Right, Sid breaks the silence. Taking into account what I learned about rigor mortis and the state her body's in, I placed the time of death last night, between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. You nod knowingly. Science or dream logic, it's all the same at this point. I suppose next I turn my attention to her head. You grab a pinch hold of her ruby hair between your fingers, lost in thought, unaware of your actions until Sid speaks. Something with her hair?
He pulls you back from your siren seascapes and you focus on what he said. What's wrong with her hair? You find that some of it is missing at the back of her head. There are no signs of recent trauma, other than a 4x2 inch, not yet fully healed, burn mark that might be a clue as to what happened. Do you think she was in a fire? Sid asks while measuring the size of her burn. You shrug. There are no scarifications from the chin up, just odd dead happiness. A calm, serene-like expression rests eternally on her face, ignoring the all-gripping rigor mortis. It is easy to assume the girl was drugged, her mind bent by exotic opioids, but what if she wasn't? You feel your little hair stick out at the back of your neck as you actualize the thought. What if she wasn't under the influence of drugs? Something else. A thing escapes the confines of your sanity. It is lanky, but can change form. It can read minds and also insert itself into them. It demands submission and uses people as playthings and instruments for its mad schemes. And you serve willingly, joyfully. Unfortunately, we can't know for sure what substances were in her system at the time of death, notes Sid, who's now paying attention to the bruising on her face. She was gagged for a prolonged period, having bruises to show for on the sides of her mouth and cheeks. These horrible facts calm your beating heart and rein in your wild imagination. Her tormentor was human. A person. They had to restrain her. Mystic monsters would have other means. Next, I suppose I found myself curious about her back. Help me turn her over, you say, and Sid assists. As expected, her back is covered with scars like the ones that are already desecrating the rest of her body. But these are fresh. They haven't had the time to heal yet. How come? Did they take pity on their canvas and allow her to rest before finishing their masterpiece? Or did they have to think of the words to carve, if these are words at all? What happened to her? What kind of story is written here? The marks look like they belong to the same group as the healed scars, but these seem a little bit different. Is it because they're still fresh? Make an audio-visual roll. Sadly, a 2 is a failure. It must be so. The symbols look different because the scar tissue hasn't formed yet. You bet it was done shortly before her death. She escaped and ran to the beach. I suppose next I look at the arms. Her arms that beckoned with grace in a dance for you in the sea were cut and broken by the waves, stone and storm. A shattered bone is sticking out of her right forearm. Sid helps to determine it was done post-mortem with ease. Look at the lack of bruising. Your eye follows the length of her arm to the laceration that starts between 2 upper muscles. You remember this part, the horrid and exquisite finale, the sea turning red. The left arm is exactly the same. It took so much strength and courage to do this, to descend. Most of her fingers are broken too, Sid adds. And this was definitely done when she was still alive, see? His words knock your stomach and shake you away from your nightmare. He points out the swelling and small cuts around her wrists. I'd say she was bound. But you can't stop losing yourself in the gashes of her arms to acknowledge what he just said fully. Make an audio-visual roll. Sadly, a 3 is a failure. You've seen her do it. A fierce stab, and then a cut down to the palm, just once each. Yet the doctor mortician said her fingers were broken. It's impossible to use such significant force to make those slashes with those fractures, right? The cuts are so deep that they graze the bone underneath. You wouldn't be able to do this to yourself, even with your fingers intact. Was this truly suicide? In your dream it was. What was she holding? I'm afraid I don't remember. And so, I must look at something else. As much as I don't want to. Time to look at her genitalia. After a quick and proficient inspection, Sid determines that Jane Doe didn't have sexual intercourse in the past 24 hours. I see. Then I look to something else. What's inside her? Sid takes you aside. Chief Morris said to be thorough, he says, and you know where this is going. You feel your heart starting to pound harder, making the mortician's words instill further unease. This isn't a common procedure, but I know my way around a body, and we might learn more. You nod in return. Sid turns back to the cadaver and starts tracing a Y with a scalpel along her chest. You feel nausea rising in your throat. Make a physical roll. Surprisingly, a 5 is a success. You swallow, brace yourself, and let the mortician work. In the next hour, you two establish that she didn't suffer from any diseases. However, her major organs have slightly shrunk, and her kidneys looked less than perfect. Sid concludes that she didn't drown. She was dehydrated and starved. You wish you'd learned more after having her go through this. And you, by her side. But I suppose it's time to look at her legs. Her legs have numerous post-mortem fractures. There are no indications of scales, toe webbing, or other unusual fish growths. Part of you was hoping to find them. It would make the horror before you at least wondrous. But these are just tender limbs and roofless sea. Still, she had to come from somewhere. She had to go to the beach. It was raining. She was barefoot. You imagine her running through the town, her soles bruised by the cobblestone, her toenails getting chipped by slightly raised stones and tiny pebbles, and you lower your gaze to her feet. They look exactly as you pictured them. Sid turns her to the right for a moment and reveals a large burn mark on her left calf. There was a fire last week in an apartment building, he remembers. Could it be that she was there? I shrug, having no more information to give. And so finally I look away from the body and think to ask about any personal effects. Did she have anything on her person when she was brought in? She had no personal effects, Sid says. Only this. He brings forth a neatly folded yellow dress on a metal tray. It's still mostly wet with the ocean smudged with blood, and the dry parts are white-stained from salt. The sleeves are ripped on the linings of the inner arms, and are now opening up like bell sleeves. These cuts correspond to Jane Doe's wounds. The fabric of the dress is more torn than cut, confirming the bluntness of the used object. You suppress an impulse to smell it. A chill runs through you. This is it. This is all that's left of her. A torn yellow dress, and a memory of her deaf ballet. The Queen is dead. Long live the Queen. But who will succeed her? And what colour will they wear? And so I step back. I wonder if I'd have been more helpful if I was a doctor or someone who understood these things. But for now, I think all I can do is conclude this autopsy. Sid looks up at you getting ready to wrap this up. Well, are you sure you're done? Yes. Yes, I am. As you say this, you see relief on his features. If he was uneasy, he masked it well. Unlike you, spacing out, spinning wild tales, listening to the voices inside your head. You should learn to mask better. You're an investigator now. You need to appear in control. Yes. He covers her up with a sheet again. Any idea who she is? You shake your head, but you have a clue as to where to start looking. I'll also have that exhumed body you ordered first thing in the morning.
Ah, you almost forgot about that. You're not looking forward to meeting Dom Bowers. At least you'll have the night to rest, build some defences and tailor a mask or two before you do so. It's going to be terrible. He was fished out after being dead for who knows how long. Then he was buried for 9 days, only to be exhumed and brought before you. Does he even appear human anymore?
It wasn't on my order.
You see sympathy and empathy both on Sid's face. Find comfort in knowing he'll be there with you.
Well, see you tomorrow.
You leave. A rat skitters by on your way out. It's been a long day. You could use some sleep. And so, you find a place to rest and close your eyes. This is a good time to think on what has happened. To think on things like your past, your present, your future. Feel free now to spend some XP. Well, quite frankly, it's been a bit of a day. How useful have I even been? I mean, I'm an artist. I don't know how to investigate crimes. I came to this town to get inspiration. I came to this town to run away. Maybe. I don't know. Been a long day. And yet, I do feel a little more alert. In looking over all these things, I think I will improve some of my skills with experience, improving my chances on social, cultural, and esoteric roles. Yes, maybe there's a calling here. Maybe I can do something. Maybe I can help. These dreams must mean something, right? Something about the beauty of it all. I don't know. But I think for now I try and rest and try and drive these dreams away. Tomorrow, I need to do better. I need to find the meaning to all this. I will find the meaning to all this. USS Sanctity. There's a stowaway aboard this ship. You've been at sea for months. When did he get here? And how and why did he command you to eat your crew? He's insane. Like the war, like the poison they use there, and the guns, and the fellow soldiers you'd never, ever eat. You can't toss him overboard for being insane. You'd have to toss everyone then. You'd have to jump over as well, and then you'd never see her again. But maybe death is not the end. Maybe death is a dream similar to this one. But it will be over soon. You'll wake up and go home, and the stranger will be gone, and the hunger with him. He's sitting across from you. He has no face, just a swirling black on his featureless head. Calming, like the rocking of the sea, or some mother's arms. A gentle void, this gentleman, and in him you see all you want to become. Nothing. Immense, ignorant, immaculate, inviting. Nothing. Earnest emptiness. Rest in the rain of chaos. The summer rain inside, like waves of the sea, of his face, the ultimate death of self, eternal peace. And you're no longer hungry. He put the spoon in your hand. Your good friend, a better one than Pete Sanderson ever was. All he was good for was this soup. You open your eyes, and a single tear of the sleeper rolls down your cheek.
And so, we come to the end of our adventure. For now, what awaits our poor investigator? Will he discover what has happened to the loving couple? Will he find out who the mysterious Jane Doe truly is, and why he dreams of her? And will all this simply be a mundane case of murder, or will the clue lead to something much darker under the waves? To find out, well, you'll have to play Carnage on Cape Cod for yourself. What you've heard is just the beginning of a full adventure gamebook with over 900 entries. What secrets will you uncover, and what choices will you make? Will the path of the doctor or the cop lead to different revelations than that of the artist? And will you be able to withstand the physical and mental trauma that awaits, or fall to the darkness that lies in the shadows? To support Carnage on Cape Cod, please check out the crowdfunder and the links provided in this episode's show notes, and help this nightmare come to life. Not only will you be able to experience its adventure for yourself in its solo gamebook, but also then lead your friends through the adventure in its companion book designed for group play. I, for one, would very much like to know what happens next. You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where Craig played Carnage on Cape Cod. This episode was sponsored by Fang and Tentacle, and you can check out the ongoing crowdfunder as well as links to all their contents in the show notes below. The music comes from Cryochamber's Lovecraftian compilation albums, and was used with permission from Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, Julia, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Dick Thomson, Lily, Maciej, Black Templar, Dennis Sadecki, Leonhardt, Britt, and Nikola for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. Thank you again for listening, and may the siren lead you to sweet dreams.